Ms Legalista here. Thank you for joining. I am back to talk about this home, this $4 million home that was being sold. And we had this woman who, signed this deed, giving the home to herself, her trust. And yeah, just out of the blue, she's going to take this home and call it hers. Well, I want to go to this WRAL news article that has some additional information about what's going on. So the title here, let me bring it up so that you can actually see it. It says, and this is from WRAL 5 on your side. You know who to call if you're having a problem, right? Raleigh man believes woman filed fraudulent deed on his home to squat there. Slow eviction process. So he thinks maybe there's an eviction process that is going on from where she is. I don't know. Now I looked up the deed, which was from her to her. It was basically from her estate or something to her trust. But there was never any deed to her from him, from the person who actually owns the home. So just to give you a bit of the backstory, if you didn't see the previous videos that I did, here's a guy just living in his home, decides to put his home on the market for sale. 4 point something million dollar home, I think like 5 bedrooms, 7 baths or something like that. 3-car garage, 2.11 acres. And he gets a call asking if he had sold his home because somebody's asking to get the codes to be able to get into the area where he lives. And he's like, wait a second. That's when he finds out that this woman has deeded his home to her and that he no longer has title to his own home anymore, this home that he has been in for 4 years. So here's a bit of an update here with what's going on. And like I said, I pulled up the deeds in another video, and I also pulled up and talked about whether or not she herself had been scammed in terms of her thinking around what she could do, because there's this whole filing that she did with the Register of Deeds about expatriation and vessels, and I don't know, but it's some of the type of sovereign citizen kind of stuff. It falls under that. But you can go take a look at that video to learn more about all these filings that she did, because I just was definitely shaking my head on that. It says the owner of a high-end Raleigh home says a woman he's never met filed legal documents claiming she owns his house. Okay, so there's a little bit of update there. Oh, so we really are going to put all this over here on one side and look really weird. It says, okay, the owner of the high-end house is a woman he never met. Okay, so we already talked about that. So he is actually a local dentist. He had listed his home for sale. Now, there was some piece to this where she had sort of said, hey, it had the word foreclosure in there, so she thought she could claim this abandoned foreclosure. It's just a mess. It just doesn't make sense. That's the easiest thing I can say to you. It does not make sense. So it says shortly after, he said someone else filed paperwork with the Wake County Register of Deeds and tried to take over the home. He said, I've never met this woman in my entire life. Something like this makes you feel violated, vulnerable, and frightened. And what people don't understand is anybody can go down to the Register of Deeds and file paperwork saying that they own a property. Okay. Usually it needs to be notarized. And in this case, yes, there was a notary there, and I'm sure there are some calls being made to that notary now. The name listed on the fraudulent deed you see there, 5 on your side, called her multiple times trying to give her a chance to share what happened. Okay, so this is where this gets all interesting. Remember I talked about that whole sovereign citizen piece? So it says a man named Musabe answered, claiming to be Mangum's attorney in fact. Okay, that's fine. What do you have to say about this? When 5 on your side asked for a statement, Bay's response was, quote, what is the name of the law that was broken when the deed was recorded, unquote. So you have
You probably know Vistaprint for business cards.
Yep.
But did you know we also print these? And those.
It's hard to
and
even
that.
have a rational
And definitely this.
conversation
Okay,
with
that's
them
engraved where we print
because
with lasers. At Vistaprint,
they
we
are
print
not
your
going to
brand on
say
everything
anything
so your
back to
customers
you
can
that is
notice
rational.
you, remember
Like,
you,
in what
and
world
fall in love
do
with
you
you.
think
Like,
you get to
really
just
fall
put
in love
your
with you.
name on somebody
At
else's
Vistaprint, if
property?
you need it, we print it with 25%
You know?
off for new
But
customers at
his
Vistaprint.com.
response to this sort of action that's going on, where Ms. Mangum did that is, well, what's the name of the law that was broken? Well, how about fraud and theft? Let's just start there, because you don't own the property and you intentionally filed a document with the Register of Deeds office saying that you did, and you don't.
You probably
And
know
not
Vistaprint
only
from
that, but
business
you had a
cards. Yep.
UCC
But did
filing
you know we also
claiming
print
some sort
these?
of
And
mechanical
those.
something
And that.
for over 4 million,
And
and you
definitely
filed that
this.
along with
Okay,
it. So
that's
you're
engraved
filing
where
this
we print with
paperwork
lasers. At Vistaprint,
that
we
has
print your brand
numerous
on everything
untruths
so your
in it
customers can notice
in
you,
order to
remember
gain
you,
possession of a
and fall
property
in
that's
love
worth
with you.
over $4
Like,
million.
really fall in love with you.
Sounds
At
like
Vistaprint,
fraud
if
to
you need it,
me,
we print it.
you
With
know?
25% off for
Sounds
new
like a few
customers at
other things too.
Vistaprint.com.
During a 40-minute conversation, can you imagine? I wish they would just play the whole thing so I could just see the whole thing and we could break that whole thing down. Bay repeatedly mentioned the fact that Adams' home was at one point listed on Zillow as a foreclosure. It says the home is not a foreclosure and never was, according to Adams's real estate agent, who explained a computer glitch caused the home to be listed that way for a period of time. But guess what? That still doesn't give you the right to go say you own someone else's home. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. So listen to what happens next. It says, despite being asked repeatedly, Bay would not explain why Zillow listing the home as a foreclosure had any bearing on the situation. Do you see what I'm saying? So the news people are asking rational questions. What does that have to do with anything? She doesn't own the house. She has no right to the property. She filed a deed with what looks to be false information. What does that have to do with the question you're asking about the foreclosure? Absolutely nothing. But that's what I'm saying. You have some people that you can't have a rational conversation with them about something like this because they're off over here on this tangent and they're using that as this crutch to be in the space where they think they can claim some sort of legitimacy to what they're doing. And they can't. They can't. He did file a police report. It says Adams said the woman didn't have to present the Register of Deeds with any proof she actually owned the home. And he's right. She didn't. All she had to do was provide that document, which is why a lot of people now are talking about how this system needs to be changed. Now, I don't know what the changes need to be, but we got to do something a little different when you have people who literally are just marching over to the Register of Deeds with a piece of paper saying that I now own your house. And and you have to look at it. You have to look at it. You have to go look at the other video idea. I guess it was a live. You have to look at it and see this deed and these other documents that she filled out and she filed. It further goes, there was no inquiry about who owns the property. If there had just been this one simple check, my name would have popped up, Adams said. That's the owner. There's no accountability measures, none. And he is correct. He is correct. So let's see. My page is sort of becoming unresponsive here. My my internet is so slow. I don't even know what to tell you. Half the time when I'm doing videos, running videos in the back, it just, the audio and the video aren't syncing. So hopefully this is catching. Right now, I'm getting a pop-up that says page unresponsive. Well, the page is not even doing anything, but the page is really, technically, the page has got some ads running. And so, yes, that is pulling some of the streaming there. But let's see what this says. It says he only learned about what happened after the woman contacted the neighborhood management company asking for gate access codes. If the person from PPM, this is the management company, hadn't called my neighbor, I probably would never know. Adams explained to the Wake County Register of Deeds that the document the woman filed was fraudulent, but he was told the only way to get it fixed was to prove in civil court that the warranty is fake, and he said that would cost about $8,000 in legal fees. And my computer there is just going haywire there. Okay, let's go back up here. All right. He says that's pretty scary for North Carolina citizens because anyone can go downtown and make a false claim for someone else's property. And I've discussed some of this in the other video too. I'm having So many streaming issues right now. Adams told Five on Your Side he believes Mangum's intention was to squat in the house and use the deed to slow down the eviction process. And that sort of makes sense because if she thinks that it's abandoned, go back and look at the previous video. And I think that that was what was going on because that was what was mentioned. She said something about looking for abandoned properties, properties in foreclosure, that's what she does or something like that. He said he believes her intention was to squat in the house and use the deed to slow down the eviction process. You know, who is out here telling people that this is the thing to do? You know, part of this has to be about how do we put people on a pathway so that they can have good skills and experiences that they can use to get a job and a job that pays them well so that they can take care of all of the things that they need: housing, transportation, food, and then some of the things that they want to. People are taking shortcuts and using tactics like this instead. And we don't necessarily know that this was what she was going to do, but this is what he said he believes. He believes her intention was to squat in the house and use the deed to slow down the process. And that makes sense. Can you imagine, though, squatting in somebody else's $4 million home? I mean, how was she going to get in there? Was she just going to break in? I cannot imagine. The Wake County Sheriff's Office incident report, oh, I'll have to pull that up, lists the crime as fraud obtaining property by false pretense. So, Mr. Musabe up there, yeah, there you go. There's the law right there. What did I say? Fraud? Yeah, fraud. Obtaining property by false pretense. I don't know. I don't know what people are thinking. I really don't. But there you go. A new update in that story about what the homeowner thinks was going on. And this new attorney, in fact, who is now showing up and responding on behalf of this woman who filed this fake deed, this deed that looks like it's fraud. I don't know what else to say. I'm so done with this. I so don't get it. I so don't get it. All right, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Like I said, let me stop for a second. Don't forget to sign up for alerts, okay? I've said this before, sign up for alerts because then at least you can find out soon after the fact. It still is set up so that it's not before they file, but you get the alert after they file. And then at that point, at least you know, at least you can move faster, because think about it. If this house had been abandoned, and he was set up for alerts, he gets that email or that text message that says, hey, something just got filed. Let me go over here and see what's going on. Let me head over to my house. Let me go to the register of deeds. And he gets to his house, maybe before whoever does, if it's an abandoned property, and you find out you see somebody trying to move in. At that point, yeah, okay, you can call the police, bring somebody else in before they're able to move in. No, this is not your property. But in most cases, you're not going to find out until after it happens, even if you sign up for the alert. But at least sign up for the alert so that you will receive that notice. Okay. All right. That's pretty much it. That's a lot. Again, just an update on that story because it just keeps going on. I'm going to try to get a copy of the incident report so that we can take a look at it also. And yeah. We'll keep following this and try to use this as an opportunity to help us understand why it's so important to stay on top of these things. Now you can give the video a thumbs up. All right, peace. Mwah.